Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Movie Joint. We're in the middle of our 2-week Stephen King It, leading up to the second movie of the remakes being released next week. We're going to see that and bring you that. We're here right now with It Chapter 1, the remake with Bill Skarsgård as the Pennywise. Just watched it this morning at like 3:30 in the morning. We stayed up watching this movie, so it's fresh in our minds and we can compare it to the original and tell you what we thought about it. So here we are. What do you think about the new, or well, it's not new now, the Chapter 1 It remake?
I think the movie is fantastic.
What?
I loved it. It is refreshing. It takes the story of the old one and changes it in a way that's good. All the scares from the first It, they change them and they make them different. They make them fresh. They make them new.
Enhance them. Like there was a lot more scary. Yeah.
It kind of got that in a way like the movie that we saw a few weeks ago, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark vibe in a way.
I don't know, from the get-go, that movie was more scary than I ever remember the first one being. And you just told me a few minutes ago that you think that the remake was more like the book.
Yes.
That means something to me because I love books, I love reading, I got a library. I want to read that book because I think the way they changed up certain scenes in this movie, if it's more like the book, like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
This scene, this movie literally takes it's just like, I don't know what you want to say, but it's just like Aladdin. How do you compare Robin Williams' Genie to Will Smith's Genie? How do you compare Tim Curry's Pennywise to Bill Skarsgård's?
Oh, you can't. Pennywise? You cannot. That I can compare that, but these guys, like, it's totally unique, and their take and their mindset when they got into character, it is.
So which Pennywise did you like more?
I gotta say, man, we just said it's hard to compare. I love Tim Curry. He's one of my favorite actors. He can do anything. Has played everything. This guy I never heard of until I saw his name on the credits last night. The clown was scarier. There was a lot more action, a lot more detail in the face and the scene and the horror they're trying to relay to you of these kids and this demonic clown trying to devour them. Like, it was
Did you notice
real.
His eyes are always...
Oh, yeah, looking like lazy-eyed. Hey,
so
I can't say it was fantastic like this guy, but it was great.
People want to know which Pennywise do you like more?
In a different aspect, I like my classic awesome dude. In the scary, give you the vibe that the story's trying to relay to you, hands down, it's the new guy. It was scary. It was scary, and you got more of it. They were so limited 30 years ago with what they could show and what they could put into the movie. Like, this movie is insane from the get-go.
Yeah, first 5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I like the storyline because it's more like the movie, or like the book. At least that's what I'm told. I'm going to read the book. Man, it's a really good storyline. The actors, the little kids are good. I can't wait to see what the grown-ups are acting like next week.
Yeah. I liked most of the kids, except I liked him. Don't get me wrong, but I thought that he was a lot more stale. Billy, the kid who played Billy.
Oh, I liked him. We got Jaden Lieberer as the young Billy in the new remake, and I mean, the parts are different, so you can't really compare it to the young boy.
But I thought he was
in the
more
first
bland.
one. He was a lot more bland. That other little boy was so into character,
Yeah.
man. You just felt his pain.
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah.
But the little kids did a pretty good job acting still.
Oh yeah, especially Richie and Eddie. Their banter back and forth was so funny.
There was a little more adult
was.
in this flick. They had some cuss words and they had talked some smack to each other.
He's like, you got to look. He's like, I got the short stick. You got to lucky we weren't measuring dick size.
They were, today's little kids.
Yeah.
Running around cussing, being all bad, but not really being bad.
No, they weren't being bad at all.
Cussing, making jokes, crude adult humor.
But I think the kids in this one had a little bit more chemistry. I mean, granted, it's 27 years later. The acting it's evolved. All that stuff. I was about to say evolved,
and all the kids these days can act at 4 years old, like they're memorizing lines and being all dramatic and like the acting 3 decades removed from the original. Like he said, it's evolved. The actors are better these days. Like
that does not detract the acting from the first hit, though.
Oh no, love that movie.
The kids did fantastic in that movie. But in this movie, it definitely, they had a little bit more chemistry. They were bantering at each other. And
they looked like funny. A group of little friends for
People
real.
compared it to Stranger Things.
I've never seen
I've never seen it either. But I know it's about a group of kids who fight off monsters and aliens and all kinds of stuff.
Well,
it's on Netflix.
Is it a show or a movie?
It's a show on Netflix.
I want to see a movie.
Yeah.
Like next week.
Yeah, next week. Alright, so, yeah. The movie is great. Bill Skarsgård is great.
Aces.
I mean, he's scary.
Yeah, he is.
And I can't wait to talk in depth about it.
Yeah, so what did you think overall of the movie? It was fantastic.
I gave it an 8.5 out of 10.
8.5. I want to give it a 7.5. Not in the scary
You liked it just that much little more over the first one?
I think, I don't know, the story was a little better and the clown was a little better. Maybe I could give it an 8. Definitely, we're going to give it an 8. I changed my mind. 8. It was good. It's good enough. I don't like scary movies that I would buy it to have and keep. I can't wait to see the next one. I still didn't get my fix. My frightful, be afraid.
But you got put on edge.
I was on the edge of my seat. I say that every video because I'm intently watching, but like I was definitely more afraid than all the movies we've been watching to get afraid. Like,
and just think, part 2 is
going to
2
be
hours,
intense.
2 hours and 49 minutes long.
Yeah.
That's going to be a lot.
A lot to sit through and be afraid. Now we got grown-ups, modern day grown-up actors with their terror and fright, and they're like traumatized from their childhood. I'm really looking forward to it now.
Alright, so 8.5
and an 8. I gave it up to an 8.
Awesome. Now we can really get into it.
Opening scene, the big scene.
Spoilers, everybody.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, the movie's been out a couple years, but now we're going in-depth review. This movie starts off with the famous opening scene.
Pulls you in from the get-go, like what?
The camera swooping through the town, the music, the rain, the grayscale, and the kid who plays Georgie really, really caught my heart. I thought he was really, really good as Georgie. I loved him, and it made me sad.
The whole scene was so much better with the detail they couldn't have in the original.
And you felt like Bill, other than in the first one, you felt like Bill really cared more for Georgie. He was really more caring.
Yeah, he was a big brother.
Yeah. And in the first one, it was just like, Georgie, still be careful, but go out and play, do your own thing.
Yeah.
And this one, now, one of the, oh my God, when I was watching, I'm sitting here watching it, headphones in and everything, he tells Georgie he has to go down into the basement to get the wax. And that is where you get the first real hair stands up.
On the back of your neck stands up. He's grabbing his arm. I'm like, damn, he's about to get him now. Like,
But he goes and he grabs the wax and he looks at this figure and you kind of.
It looks like two fiery eyes.
No. The statue first.
Oh, the old lady, the haggard Indian.
And it looks like her eye moves towards him. And then he hears something and he looks over and it's nothing but black. And
Except
he sees
two little shimmering, fiery, orangish looking dots. And he's frantic. He grabs him a flashlight, and he shines it over there. And it's just a couple little glass, bulby containers, light reflecting off. And he books it. He gets up out of there real quick.
But that's set up.
I thought he was going to get got then. They made you think like it was instantly creepier than the first movie.
As soon as I saw those two eyes, I paused. I was like, nope. Nope. That would scare the crap out of me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. If I
was dark, bro. I don't, yeah.
But yeah, anyways, he finishes it, calls it the SS Georgie, and he says, now be careful, blah, blah, blah. So then the kid, and this is where they change it, and this is where I feel real bad for the kid. He's following it, ducks under one board, and then hits his head on the other board.
Which makes him lose the boat a little bit, because he blasted himself.
Yeah, he falls down pretty hard. He loses the boat a little bit. He's trying to catch up to it. The boat falls down into the drain, and this is where we get the famous scene. And this scene is, in my opinion,
Georgie?
100 times better in this movie.
I'm Pennywise, and you're Georgie. Georgie, Pennywise. Pennywise, Georgie. Now we're not strangers.
I like how he first shows up there.
Hey.
It's black, and you see his eyes open. And then he walks into frame. Not like in the original where he just comes up. His eyes open, and then he walks into frame.
Oh, dude.
So much more scarier, so much more sadistic.
Cotton candy and peanuts and hot dogs.
He's like, I'm Pennywise.
And you know what else? He was like, yeah, popcorn. He's like, I love the popcorn.
Pop. He's like, I'm Pennywise, the dancing clown.
Hey, the guy is scary from the get-go.
And
from the time when you see his eyes pop up and he ekes forward into the shot. Oh, wow.
It's a different story. It's totally different. And then after he does that, this is the part where I kind of got... I remember I saw this movie for the first time at a drive-in theater. And so I was in my car and everything, and it's completely black and dark around me and all that stuff. And it's after he's like, pop, 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 and they're all laughing. And then instantly he goes, and he gets serious face. I'm like, oh shit.
And he tries to be cheerful again with the voice.
He's like, okay, well, I gotta go. He's like, without the boat?
Yeah.
Do you want the boat? Come here.
Don't you want
take
it?
the boat and take it. How he emphasized it.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was so awesome. It was so fantastic. And then they show what really happens to Georgie.
Man, I almost cried for the little kid. He reached up and snatched his hand, and he did the crazy razor teeth thing, and he bit his arm off. Little 5, 6, 8-year-old little tiny kid. And he bit his arm off, and the kid's screaming in terror and pain, trying to crawl away. Oh, wow.
You see the hand?
And he reaches out way more than you would think that his arm could reach, and he snatches it. Oh, wow. And then we got this old lady on the porch in the rain, looking out there, seeing the blood go down into the sewer, and turns around and goes back inside.
No, she went to call the cops. That's why she scurried.
That's the whole vibe they gave us. That the city, the people, the townspeople didn't say nothing. They looked the other way. They didn't help the kids getting bullied. They didn't intervene. And that's the vibe I got.
Okay.
Because the cops didn't show up. She just walked inside.
Okay.
Like she was minding her own business.
And the cat, too. The cat was a good actor as well. Because the cat's just sitting there watching like, and then as soon as he gets his arm bit off and he falls out, the cat's like... Cat freaking even acted in the movie as well. It was great.
Gruesome for a tiny little kid.
Yeah.
To go through that.
And so then...
they gave you, like you said, they gave you everything you didn't see in the original. I guess it's the 21st century. Now we can see shit on TV. Like, they showed the little boy's nub. They showed him get it bit off. They showed him in terror, crawling. You know what kind of movie you're in for.
I felt so bad for that kid. I was like, oh my God, Georgie. Well, anyway, so then it gets into the story, and I forget what comes up next. Is it the scene with Mike where he's afraid to pull the trigger on the goat? Is that what's next? Because he's afraid to kill the goat, and that his grandpa was like,
telling you're like either gonna be us
or you're gonna be them,
or you're gonna be them,
with the bolt in between your eyes,
blindly looking forward to nothing, getting shot in the head with the bolt.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the next scene or not.
I don't remember.
Maybe with our notes we need to start doing some sort of
scene by scene type stuff.
Yeah. Chronicle of the order somehow, but
it does give us a nice little look on what he's kind of afraid of. But you also do find out that he's getting bullied by Henry Bowers and all those kids as well.
Like, you're an outsider, you don't belong here, blah blah.
And they use some profound words too.
But it's more politically correct. They didn't call him the N-word in this movie and berate him like racially. You know that's their intent, but like they didn't come out directly and say it because it's the 21st century.
Yeah.
Everybody's feelings get hurt.
Yeah, in the original they were using that N-word a pretty good amount.
They threw it out there a few times, and I was liking that. It was refreshing that they didn't keep that in there.
Yeah.
Because there's so many racial tensions in the world now. But that's their intent. If you know the storyline, these little kids hate him because he's black. And they pick on him because he's an outsider, and they try to run him off.
Yep. And so the change in this movie that they changed from the original is that in the original, Mike in the original was actually the one doing all the research.
Yeah,
and in this one, it's Ben.
Scrapbook.
Yeah, in this one, it's Ben. He goes to the library during summer. He does all of his research.
Yeah, the little fat boy.
What's going on? Yeah. And so then that's when we get Mike. Well, no, we're still on Mike. He's riding his bike. He sees Henry Bowers, so he goes down the alleyway to go the back way to where he works to drop off
deliver
the meat.
his things. Yeah,
the meat, and that's where we get his scare of the burning hands, and it's so subtle because it shows the camera.
You know what that made me think of?
What's that?
That made me think that was a traumatizing thing. Why he didn't have no parents? Why his family was all gone? And he was living with his uncle or whatever.
Well,
maybe they got burned up.
He explained that later.
I didn't hear that. I didn't.
Yeah, later on he explains that him and his family were inside the burning house.
So they all must have died, and he's on the delivery at the back door, and it cracks open.
Very subtle.
Just a little, just real subtle. Like
you see a hand.
You see a couple hands. And you see the smoke, and then it starts like thrashing open. It can't open, and and then it busts open.
It's very subtle. Like there wasn't like a big jump scare. There wasn't a loud noise. There wasn't loud music. It's just the door creaks open.
Inside.
Bling, bling, bling. Yeah, and then the door busts open, and you see through the little flaps.
It looks like you're seeing the clown back in there.
Like he's eating something.
Like he's in there eating the raw, fleshy meat. It's what you're seeing. Obviously, that's what you're seeing, but like that's not what he was really seeing, because then the butcher guy comes out, and that's the end of his little. Hey, I thought he was gonna get it right there too in the daytime.
Yeah, but what stopped the scare was that Henry Bowers and his hooligans came up and tried to run him over, but he jumped out the way.
Beautiful blue Trans Am looking car.
Yeah.
And tried to run him over. Yeah. Get out of my town. Something.
You should have burned like your other family or something like that.
Then we go to the girl, right?
No, next is Stan.
Stan.
Yeah.
In the new movie,
yes.
It goes straight to Stan.
Yes. Stan is next. Stan is played by Wyatt Oleff.
Little Jewish boy.
Yes.
About to go under go through his bar mitzvah, become a little young man.
Yep.
He's practicing reading the Torah. And his dad's telling him, yeah, how's it going to look if the rabbi's son can't even do what, blah. Take the book back to my office. Or whatever, the chapel. And he walks in, and he walks by and tries to not look at this weird, scary painting. And then he comes back to it after he puts the book on the thing and no. He goes back before he puts the book on the shelf to straighten the painting. And then he puts the book on the shelf and then the painting falls down. Then he picks up the painting. And the crazy monster, ghoulish lady that was on there was gone. The painting was blank. And he hung it up, stupefied in wonderment, what's going on. And then, did he see her? Or did he hear something over?
She was, if you look, there's a wide shot, and they do that a lot in this movie, where the kid will be in one corner, and the camera's a wide shot, so you can see what's going on behind them.
Shadowy silhouette.
So with Mike, it was him in the corner, and over here, the door was opening up.
Yeah,
with
cracking.
him, he's here in the corner, and she's standing right there, and she eerily comes into frame, and then you hear her start to like breathe, and he turns around, and that face just comes in, weird, distorted looking face, kind of like the face from The Ring, if you've seen The Ring. It's kind of like that.
Then it turns into the clown.
Yep.
And that's when you get the crazy chase vibe that the clown will come get you, like, ah! All crazy and running, and dude runs out of the little chapel.
Yep.
And that was his frightful, youthful encounter there, and that was way more terrifying than the first movie. Like, that was make you think that it's more like the book.
Yep.
Something like that, because that was different and that was scary, and that was also something they might not have wanted to put on the screen in 1990. Like, but it was truly frightful for this boy.
And then I don't know if this was next or maybe before, but then we get this girl walking into the girls' restroom, and you find Beverly in the stall.
Losers Club. Also getting bullied.
Yeah.
I don't think she got bullied so much in the first flick.
No.
But the girls hated her.
Because of a rumor that she was sleeping with
around.
boys.
Yeah.
Sleeping around. A little 14, 15-year-old girl being a whore. And so, yeah, they fill up this trash bag with water, and they dump the trash on her. So you find out that
like, now you smell better at least.
Or, yeah, something like that. If you want to be trash, you might as well be trash, and all that stuff. And then after that, it comes to Ben, and
she meets Ben.
Yeah, Ben's outside.
The school.
He's got his thing. He's got his bike, and I thought it was really kind of sad, but at the same time, kind of realistic. Where they're chit-chatting back and forth. She finds out he's listening to New Kids on the Block. And then she goes to sign his yearbook.
Yeah,
and
no signatures.
No signatures in it. And then she signs it. She's a good person.
Yeah, she's a sweetheart.
All these rumors are bad.
And they're not true.
Yeah.
They're not true.
And
she's not a little floozy. She's just
and she's
the
cute.
Oddball out. And she's a little cutie.
She's pretty.
And she hangs out with boys.
Yeah.
So cute. It looks how it looks, but it wasn't true.
Yeah. And so then that's when you get, after that, she walks away, and Ben heads to the library, where he wants to do more research on the missing children and what's been going on, that's been going on in Derry for the past however many years.
Since the settlers came to settle and make it a town.
And you can see in the pictures, you can see Pennywise.
Yeah,
did you notice
that? Lot of the pictures.
He was there at the beginning.
Yeah.
He's been there. That's his
Killed 91 settlers. They all just went missing or dead overnight. That was when they first came to make it a town.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years ago. So it's been going on every 27 years for like, and the boy's figuring that out, doing his research.
And then yet again, there he is in the frame, bottom left. And you see a red balloon floating behind him. And you start hearing some eerie stuff and voices and all that. And he gets up and he follows the balloon. And there's all these eggs that are just
seemingly left in the hallway.
Standing straight up.
Yeah, standing on its little bottom, little egg.
Not moving.
All
nothing.
of a sudden, there's a trail of these eggs that he begins to follow. Go ahead.
He goes down into some sort of...
It's like a library.
Yeah, like a lower level of the library. And he hears something and he turns around and you see a body up at the top of the stairs. And he goes and walks down. And the reason why this scares him is because while he was looking at the book, earlier on it was zooming in, and in the tree was a little boy's head that was hanging on a branch. And so then the body is
when the
walking
ironworks exploded or something, yeah.
Yeah.
And
so
then it
the
was the
body's
body
walking down.
of that boy.
And it comes into frame and his head's gone. And starts chasing him. And all that. He's like, hey, fat boy. And as Ben's running away.
Pennywise.
Yeah, as he's running away, he's like, hey, fat boy. And Ben turns around and there's Pennywise right there. And I don't know what else he says, but he goes to chase after Ben, and Ben runs and turns around and runs into the librarian. And that ends the whole scare and everything. Ben runs up and he gets away.
So in the meantime, Beverly's on her way home. That's where we get to her scene. Because when they introduced it, went straight to little Ben's thing and cuts back to her going home. And talking to her dad about, he's still her little girl and hanging out with boys or whatever. Talking to her, where you been? I don't remember what leads to her going to the bathroom.
What is next?
Scene.
Well, there's still a couple more scenes. What is next is Ben actually gets caught by Henry Bowers and his hooligans, and that's when they carve the H in him.
No, that's where he ends up kicking away from him and meeting the group.
Yeah, I know.
But he already met her. They show her.
They already met her, but her scene of the abusive stuff has not come up yet.
No, the scene in the bathroom where the blood's flowing up and the things come out and grab her.
That's not till later.
I thought that was after or before they met
the
whole
not
group.
Till later. No, it's
okay. So the boys
I literally went in order from everything.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So the boys catching.
As he was running. Yeah. He's sitting there walking, he runs into whatever, they're carving that H, and you see these old people drive by, and they look, and he yells out for help.
Mind their own business thing.
Yep.
And just keep on driving. Dude's little buddy's getting his stomach cut on and brutalized by these bullies, and they just drive on by.
Yep.
Like minding their business, turning the head. It was awful.
And then that's when Ben kicks Henry Bowers, gets away.
Falls down the hill. Yep. Falls down the hill. They're chasing him down the hill.
And then they lose him.
And Henry lost his knife.
Yeah.
Henry lost his knife. Then Patrick is the one, not Belch, but Patrick is the one that goes and gives chase to Ben. And he's the one that gets taken.
He's the sewer scene. The zombie sewer scene.
Yeah, instead of Belch, who got it in the first movie.
Yeah.
But
and
dude lost his knife. That comes back later.
That's where you first realize that, because he was like, my dad will kill me. So he's afraid of his dad.
Yeah.
His dad is the cop or the sheriff of the town?
Yep.
Something like that? Yeah. Well, anyway, so then they split up, and that character who you said, what's his name?
Patrick was the dude's name that got.
Patrick hears something in the sewers, so he goes in there, and he has his little flamethrower. He's got a knife or lighter with flame and all that.
Hairspray or some shit.
And he's going through the sewer, spraying it, and then one time he sees all these silhouettes. He's like, I see you, and he flashes it, and there's these zombies all over the place. You found
us, Patrick. You found us.
Yep. And so then Patrick, it sounds like he gets killed, but he doesn't. He escapes, and then he runs into a chain, or not a chain, but a metal door frame and all that. And he can't get out, and he turns around, and there's the red balloon coming into him, and it blows up, and Pennywise is right there, ready for him. I can't remember what he says or if he says anything, but he kills Patrick there on the spot. Done. Patrick's dead. And then we get into where Ben actually meets up with
the whole little clique of kids.
With the group. Yep. And that's when they're like, oh, shoot, blah, 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 what's wrong?
Let's take care of him. Let's help him.
Let's help him out.
They go to the drugstore.
And this is where I got it. So they don't have enough money to buy the supplies. So they meet up with Beverly, who is there, who is buying some womanly products. And she goes to help them out by flirting with the clerk. The perverted
old man pharmacist guy.
She's like, did you know that those glasses make you look like Clark Kent? She's like, can I try them on? She tried them on. He was like, oh wow, would you look at that? You look like Lois Lane.
Oh,
I was like,
creeper.
oh my god,
oh, he was a creeper.
And he's all sitting there. I was like, dude, no.
Wow.
Yeah.
Little.
Oh. And there's people out there that are like that too.
There are. And it's disgusting.
It's sad.
So she's going to give the glasses back, and she creates the diversion.
Yeah.
Knocks the little stand off the counter. Dude's like, oh, it's okay, and he bends down, and she turns around and gives him a look. And they stumble around, fumble around, and they make a break for it with the things to patch up Ben.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then that's where, you don't really...
That dude is a creep.
He's like, you look like Lois Lane. Would you look at that?
Yeah, would you look at that?
And so then Beverly comes out of the store. She sees what they're doing. She makes sure everything's okay. And then she goes home. And that's where we get this other scene. Where you find out that, or you get the vibe. Well, you do find out.
She's abused.
She's abused sexually by her father. It doesn't show it. It doesn't talk about any past things.
Pervish undertones is all you get. And her emotion.
You're still daddy's little girl, right?
Yeah.
And that's where, she's crying. He smells her hair and all that. And that causes her to cut her hair off.
This leads her to the bathroom. That's right.
Yeah.
And she's cutting her hair like Orphan Annie, all short and red hair and curly. And then the shit goes down. You see the hair going down the drain, as she cuts it off, and
not yet.
She hears something.
Not yet. Not yet.
Not yet.
No, we still got that, and then that. Still got a little bit more. Still got the... So after she cuts her hair, it goes to where it shows the boys in their underwear. They told her that they were going to meet at the quarry. And then it shows them in her underwear.
Cliff diving.
Yeah. She shows up.
That's before she was traumatized with the blood?
Swear to God, yeah. Because she hasn't bonded with them yet.
Well, no, but there's another scene with her getting abused and all that when the shit goes down.
Yeah, later on.
Okay, I thought that... Okay.
Yeah. And so...
See, it's good that you wrote it down in order. That's good. That's what I meant.
That's what I try to do. But yeah, so then she comes in and she was like, oh, I'll go.
You're all scaredy cats. Da-da-da-da-da.
She just jumped right off.
Dives right in.
Yep. And then they all dive right in. You get this nice little bonding scene.
Having a good time.
It's a good scene. It's refreshing because of all the bad stuff that's been happening. And now all these kids are starting to have fun. They're bonding. She's becoming into it. Ben's becoming into it. They still don't have Mike yet. But Mike comes in a little bit. And then after that is where they show Eddie says bye to no. The funny thing is when they get out of the water, and she's laying there, and they're all staring at her, and the music's playing.
Now this is less creepy because they're younger than her little kids.
Yeah.
That old man was something else.
Yeah.
But they're perving on her too. And you could tell they was all staring at her, and then she looks over at them, and they're all like,
yeah. And then
That was cool.
that's when they find Ben's book of historic stuff and all that. And he's like, I got more at my house. So then they go to his house and they look at all
they're doing
the
the
things.
slides.
No, not yet. No, they're just looking in his room. Looking
Oh,
at
and
all
he's
the
got
pictures.
all these newspaper clippings
Yeah.
and storylines of all the bad things that have been happening there.
Yeah. And then she cracks the door and you hear it cracking as a new Kids on the Block poster. He's like, oh, please. And she smiles and laughs. And then
Opens
closes
the door back up so that they won't see it.
That's so funny. And then that scene ends, and that's where we get Eddie walking home. Eddie is walking home, and you find out that he's afraid of this beat up, disgusting looking black house. And he pops his pills. He's going to take some pills. They scatter all over the floor, all over the ground. He's going to reach down, and then that's where, what does he call it?
I don't know. It's some sort of zombie-looking dude.
Germs.
Like it's time for your pill.
Yeah,
Eddie.
I can't remember what he called it.
I didn't.
But it
catch that either.
it corners him to go into not the house itself, but the yard and the perimeter of the house. So then it's chasing him, and he's going through, and then he turns around, and it's Pennywise with all these red balloons, like a triangle. And he goes up, and he has this weird face. He goes, and then he starts talking to George. He's like, beep, beep. Oh, no, that's Richie.
Yeah, that's
But
Richie.
Eddie, he's talking to Eddie, and
Wheezy. He calls him Wheezy.
he's like, yeah, Wheezy, and all this stuff. And he goes to scare him, and Eddie runs and gets away, turns around, looks, nothing's there.
All the balloons are popped.
Yeah.
And you see the remnants of them popped balloons coming
Falling.
down onto the grass there.
And that ends Eddie's scene. And then next comes Beverly,
Finally, we get to the bathroom scene.
which was, did you know that in the trailer, the blood that comes out is actually black instead of red? Because if they would have used, they changed the color. Because it's so much blood, it was going to cause problems with some sort of like viewing discretion and all that. So in the trailer, it's actually black. It looks like black goo instead of red blood.
But it's blood.
Yeah.
And she hears something down in the drain. You know, and she's all like looking down in the drain, you know, and she's, for whatever reason.
She's in the bathroom because she gets the note, the little postcard.
Little poem
Yeah.
that Ben had wrote for her, just like in the first movie. Well, your hair is January embers, winter fire.
Your hair is winter fire, January embers, my heart burns there too.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, and then she starts hearing something.
And that's when she looks down into the drain, trying to, you know, see down in there. So for whatever reason, she goes to get a tape measure. She's shoving it down in the drain, and she hears it. Ding. Okay, that's as far as it can go. We reached the bottom. She's pulling it back up, you know, pulling it back up, and it gets towards the beginning of the tape measure, and it's the first 4 or 5 inches are covered with blood. She pulls it up out of there, and it's got hair like attached to it. And then she's pulling it out, and it, I guess it wraps around her. It
Wraps around her
grabs
wrist.
her,
Yeah.
pulls her in, shoots up out of there, grabs her around the face,
Pulls her face literally straight down to the
right
drain.
down towards the drain. Oh man, it was something.
And then that's when you get the blood just
It just
spews.
explodes into her face.
And it goes everywhere.
like a geyser of blood.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then that's when her dad comes breaking in.
Well, she's all slipping, falling, terrified, all bloody, and
That was a great scene.
It was
her acting was great in that too.
Man,
She looked really scared.
She was really scared. She just got almost drowned in blood.
But it's acting, dog.
If you
The
believe that
acting,
what
yeah,
happened to
exactly.
her happened to her.
Because she's like, you don't see the blood and the voices and all that.
Worry me,
Yeah.
baby.
She's like, what'd you do to your hair? He's like, it makes you look like a boy. That's the point. You freaking pervert.
Bunch of pervs in this movie. Well,
Crazy.
2 at least. That's some sick shit going on.
Yeah.
So
then after that, we get into Billy. Billy goes into, I'm pretty sure Billy goes into Georgie's room.
nah, if he's in the garage, his dad's in there working on the wood lathe, making a table leg, and when Billy gets back, he addresses the thing with him, like Billy's trying to figure out where Georgie would have ended up at somehow.
And he created this thing.
These hamster tubes of the sewer system. And then he stuck a little G.I. Joe action figure or something in there and was pouring water down in there, demonstrating to his dad where his little brother might have ended up. And he's like, no, man, I told you, don't keep doing that. You're going to upset your mom. Georgie's dead. We're never going to see him again. There's nothing we can do about it. You're going to upset your mom. Take that shit down.
He's dead, Bill.
The poor boy is so lost over his brother being taken. Never gave up hope still that they would at least find his little body, and was being deterred by the parents who wanted to just, I guess, forget about it.
Even
Leave it
to
alone.
the end of the movie, he never stopped looking for Georgie. And that was one thing about Bill in this movie compared to the first one. In the first one, they lost sight of Georgie, and they just wanted to kill Pennywise.
Yeah.
In this one, it was all about him still trying to find Georgie.
Yeah.
Hope
All
that Georgie
the
was
way
never
through,
killed.
hoping to still find him.
And then that leads Bill to go up into his room or something, and that's when he sees Georgie in the corner of his eye. And Georgie leads him down into the basement. And he's looking, you see Georgie in the corner right there. His arm's missing still and everything. He's like, I don't know what to do, I'm scared, I just want to come back. He's like, and Bill starts like crying. He's like, I know, Georgie, I'm sorry. And all this, and you hear Georgie and his voice
Starts to morph
distort.
into like the clown, and the boy's shaking and gets all starting to rot right before his eyes and shit.
And then Pennywise rises up out of the water, and you see his hand is controlling Georgie, doing all that.
Yeah.
He's like, you'll float too! And then Georgie disappears, and Pennywise comes up out of the water, and Bill's looking at him like, what the heck? And then Pennywise rushes at him real fast through the water, going crazy
He
too.
was wanting to eat him.
Damn. Billy gets away, and all that. It was
So-
a great scene.
Then it goes to where they're all riding their bikes or something. They're all the little kids are back together again,
Yeah.
and they start telling each other. How did Mike come into it? You said a minute ago he wasn't in the group yet.
He was.
I thought after he ran from the thing delivering the meat, he ran into them. That's where they had the rock fight.
No, the rock fight comes. Oh yeah, I said the worst scene was the rock fight.
Yeah, but you didn't say that's when the Mike was introduced to the group there as the new buddy.
No, the rock
They
fight
had the
was
rock
next.
fight.
The rock fight was next.
Well, when they're telling each other what they saw and what they've been experiencing, Mike was there. They were all riding their bikes, and they were all talking, well, I saw this, and I saw this too.
He's like, yeah, I saw a clown. Well, anyways, it leads up to the rock scene, and it's more graphic in this movie, but at the same time, I still didn't like it. It's still the worst scene in the movie for me, just like in the original. I just don't believe that they were that close.
You've never been in a rock fight?
That shit will hurt.
It does hurt.
Dude, I got a dent in chest
You got
because of that.
adrenaline pumping though. If you get hit in the elbow with a rock, you're going to grab up a rock with your other arm and try to hit them back. Little kids are resilient, man.
But this,
Personally, I've been in rock fights and been bashed in the head with rocks and done some awful things with rocks. Like, yeah, the second fight scene, the rock scene, was better than the first movie, by far.
I just didn't like it. That's just me.
I thought it was great.
But yeah, they all meet up, and then this is where we get to.
They all know that something's
projector
going
scene.
on. They're
projector.
trying to investigate because Ben's got all his data from his research, and they're back at the garage trying to look at some still slides on a projector.
Yep.
So they're going through these slides, and then it's just showing slides of them for some reason. And then they start to notice something's wrong, and then it starts going crazy and flipping and this and that, and then you start to see Pennywise. And then somehow he observes them, like metaphysical shit right there, but like viewing the slides, and he's in the slides. I don't remember if he says something to him, if he's talking to him, but they're all flipping out, and the projector drops, and then you see a blurry still of Pennywise. And then it flips, it's the same one, and then it flips, and then it's a different one, and then it flips again, and it's like him. And then
a big CGI of him.
Somehow the projector light on the wall becomes like this window to where he can crawl out and try to get him, and he's crawling, gnarling, vicious like some demonic clown dog trying to crawl up out of there and get to him, and Ben opens the garage door and it disappears,
Yep.
So
what started the whole flipping of that was they found out where he is. Old well house.
They found the spot,
which is the black house.
And they had maps, and every little thing from each happening throughout history converged on the spot.
Yep.
That's how they discovered
it. They said, okay, sewer, and it all leads to the well house, which happens to be the black house that Eddie
was afraid of.
Yep. And so that's where they decide after that. They're all scared. They don't want to, but then they decide. Billy's like, I'm going.
Yeah, no matter what, I'm going.
Billy leaves. He goes to the black house. Everybody else starts to
rides
follow him.
Rides his bike, gets there before everybody.
And then everybody else shows up right before he enters. And him, Eddie, and Richie. Right?
Yep.
Those are the three that enter the house. Everybody else stays out, looks out. Just in case if something bad happens, they could call for an adult or somebody to come and help.
Hopefully, even though the whole town's blind to everything.
Yeah. And so then this is where a lot of the fun starts to happen.
They're looking through the house.
Is it Richie?
They're in the hallway. Eddie's the first one that gets branched off from the group. They see Betty in the doorway.
The poster.
The poster.
He finds it. It's Richie.
He finds
missing.
Yeah, and it's got his face and his name on it.
And he's freaking out like, why am I missing?
They're like, it's not real. It's not real.
What you see in here is not real. Don't let it whatever.
So then they get upstairs to the hallway.
Yeah.
Down at the far door, you see the little girl that initially went missing. Betty something or other. And she's like, I can't move or something. And she's all of a sudden pulled out of frame, screaming in terror. And they try to go investigate.
They do, but at the same time,
at that point, Eddie is distracted down the hall somehow. Ends up, the two boys, Richie and Billy, get to the room where Betty was apparently at. And the door gets shut behind them. Eddie realizes that he's not with the group and tries to make for the room where they are, like right as the door closes. And then they can't open the door, and then the floor just dissolve, falls away right there. And then, like, what's behind? Is the clown behind him? Or is it that crazy apparition that he saw with the pills?
It's a crazy apparition.
Okay, runs up on him and scares him, and he falls down through the floor and crashes in through a table.
Yep.
We find out later he broke his arm.
Yep.
So now we're back to the room with the two boys
and this investigating
is where for the girl.
Richie gets distracted and pulled off. And you find out that Richie is actually afraid of clowns. And if you notice,
he gets locked in a room.
He goes into the room, the door gets shut, blah, blah, blah. And he's in this room with all these clown
dolls
dolls and all that.
Like
If you look, they pointed out in the trailer and they show it in this movie. Pennywise from the original movie is one of the clowns.
The clown faces.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. But anyways, he goes up and there's this coffin. And first he's pointing at flicking the clowns.
Checking them, making
not
sure
there. He goes up to the coffin and opens it up, and it's a
it
doll
opens
figure.
before he walks up on it.
Oh yeah.
Because it says found.
Yeah. And then he walks up and it's a doll figure of him. He's like, so then he shuts it, turns around, backs up, and then next you know Pennywise comes jumping out of the coffin, lands down. He's like, beep beep Richie. They're like, beep beep Richie. And he rushes Richie. And Richie backs up, and that's when Bill opens the door.
Busts through the door. He busts through the door.
Yeah. And then that's when they're back together. And
what happened to Billy though? He saw the bed like breathing or like something was.
That was when they got back together.
Okay, so nothing happened to him by himself?
No. So then they get back together, and then the bed that's there in the room, the little girl, Georgie's face comes out of it.
Up through the middle of it.
Yeah, with all the spread and all that through him, and he starts yelling, and then that's when the bed starts shaking and it starts bleeding like this black acid type stuff.
Oozy something, yeah.
Yeah, and so then they turn around and it's not just one door anymore; it's 3 doors. Not scary at all.
Not scary. Scary.
Very scary.
Very scary.
And so then they open the not scary at all, and they turn on. Well,
that's the girl.
They hear her voice. They turn on the light, and half of her body is ripped off. She's hanging there in chains
with her whole lower half gone, like guts and like.
Mm-hmm.
It scares them. They slam the door.
And then they look at the other 2 doors. They was like, no. They was like, wait, this is just a dream.
This ain't real.
This ain't real. And so then they're like, let's do it again. So then they open the not very scary door again, and there it is, the hallway. Boom.
The whole time though, while they're doing that at the doors, Eddie's downstairs with his broken arm, about to get got.
He wakes up. Yeah. And behind him, yet again, another one. He's in the corner, and behind him is a refrigerator. And the refrigerator like opens up.
You see the hand come out.
Yeah. And then he opens the refrigerator, and Pennywise distorted.
He's all the way contorted like
the dude from Scary Stories.
Yeah, all bent backwards, all folded up into this fridge.
Wow.
But did you see when they came back in the door, the not very scary door, the 2 boys upstairs, and then they found the hallway? Pennywise looked up and he knew that they had got out and that they were in the hallway.
Yeah, because Pennywise,
millisecond scene.
He was about to eat Eddie.
Oh yeah.
He was about to.
So.
He was about to eat Eddie, and then that's when they open the door and he realizes Billy is not afraid anymore. Yeah. He's beating that fear.
And he looks around. You can tell it hit him. You know what he understood when he turned around, because they just opened the door. That they had just opened prior, and the gruesome half body of the chick was hanging there.
And that's how strong Pennywise is.
Oh yeah.
While he's attacking Georgie, he's putting all this fear into
their all head. These machinations of fear and gruesome. Hey, it was something. It was something.
And so then they rush downstairs and they find Pennywise with Georgie, or not Georgie.
With Eddie.
Oh my God, with Eddie. And he's like, "What? Am I not real enough for you, Billy? Is Georgie not real enough for you? Am I not real enough for you?" He's like, "Holy shit." And then that's when Pennywise goes to rush at Billy, and the badass that Beverly is comes in with the freaking thing.
The rod
Boom.
From the iron fence with the little spade looking deal on top and gets him. Stabs him
straight through the eye. Straight through the eye, straight through the head, and he starts freaking out, flipping out, going all crazy.
Slashes open Chubby Ben's little belly there, and
Yeah, and then that's when
He tries to get away.
He does get away.
Yeah, well, he does get away.
He crawls down into the basement.
Retreats from the kids.
Crawls down to the basement, and they follow him. And then that is when they see the well.
And he's
the
like
old well.
going down in the well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which ends up leading to them coming down the well with the rope.
So, we're going to backtrack a little bit now. Because we come to find out that Henry Bowers is a scumbag. He is telling his hooligan guy to grab that cat. That he's going to shoot a cat with his father's gun.
Borrow Daddy's gun.
He said he borrowed it to clean it. His dad wanted him to clean it, but instead he's using it. He's going to shoot a cat. His dad shows up behind him, and Henry is scared. He's frightened. He's shivering.
Dad caught him.
Takes his gun back, and he shoots at his son's feet like twice.
2, 3 shots, terrifying.
He's like, "Look at that, boys. See what he's afraid of," or something like that.
That's how you see a paper man crumble.
Yeah.
Like, and debased him in front of his little cronies. So that's where the knife came in.
That's why
the knife. So he ends up somehow going back home, whatever, blah. He sees
he's
a
already
balloon.
home. Yeah.
Well, he comes outside.
Yeah.
There's a balloon attached to the mailbox.
Yep.
And he goes and he's opening it up all apprehensive, and he pulls out this little box. So he opens up this little box, and his stiletto knife that he had lost chasing Ben down the hill earlier in the movie was neatly stuck inside this box. So he goes inside, and I guess he had taken the dad's knife too, because earlier he said, "My dad's gonna kill me," because he lost the knife. So he's over there.
That was the white knife that was given to him.
Not silver. It was silver. But no, it wasn't his. I think it was his dad's.
It was his dad's.
So he was trying to put it back.
But it's the same
after
knife.
he found it. Yeah, same knife. And then the TV starts talking to him.
Go ahead, Henry.
Henry, kill them. Kill them all. And he sticks the stiletto up to his dad's sleeping giblets there and presses the button, and it clicks right into him, and the dad wakes up like
bleeds out.
Oh.
And Henry goes crazy, and that's what's different from this to the second one. You did. I haven't watched part 2 of the original movie, but Henry is in part 2.
Yeah.
He's not. Well, unless he survives, which we'll talk about.
It looks like he just
But yeah, Henry follows them to the black house, follows them down into the well. Everybody gets down into the well except for Mike. Henry shows up, hits Mike in the back.
Back of the head.
Back of the head with a metal pipe. Boom, badges him. They get into a nice struggle, nice fight. Mike ends up finally getting the upper hand and pushes them down the well.
Now he runs at him and like
tackles him, like brute tackles.
And you see him falling down this, I guess, endless well. Like he's just falling and hitting off of shit and bashing and he definitely ain't making the sequel.
If he survived that, it's because of Pennywise. Pennywise found a way to save him.
Oh yeah, possess him, use him as the stooge still. Because in the first flick, he took the rap for the murders.
Yeah.
We'll see next week.
Yeah. But then that's when it leads to Mike going down, and they all go down. But while this is happening, Stanley turns around and gets detracted from everybody.
Yeah, he loses the group somehow.
And this scene made me go that a little bit.
I thought they killed off one of the main kids when I saw that. Like, no way.
But he's all sitting there looking around, and then you start hearing these footsteps through the water. Getting faster and faster, closer and closer. And it's a weird-faced lady. He turns around
from the painting.
Just rushes in, and it made me jump. I'm like, oh shit, that was scarier than before. Freaky.
And they heard him screaming because they noticed he was gone and was searching,
Eddie
looking around for him. And then the next shot you see of Stanley, you see him on his back with this the painting lady's whole mouth biting his face, like trying to eat his face off. And they came just in time to How'd they get her off of him? Just by showing up, or did they hit her with something? Or
just by showing up.
okay, and then she was scared and came
they
up
flashed
off
a
of
light
him,
on her.
and she
Back
retreats. So the boy wakes up panicking, like, "You're not my friends. You left me." And his face all
We
bleeding.
skipped the scene.
Yeah.
We skipped the scene.
We're jumping back and forth, guys.
We're gonna backtrack.
We're gonna backtrack again. What
We're
scene?
gonna backtrack real quick. The reason why they afterwards, I forgot about this. Yeah, we skipped a whole bunch of scenes.
Yeah.
So after Richie or Eddie breaks his arm and whatnot, and they scare him away and they find the well, they leave. That's when Eddie's mom shows up.
Oh, and
says,
takes Eddie.
Yeah.
Gets the cast.
Yeah.
We see the scene with the mean daughter of the perv at the pharmacy, like, "Oh, nobody signed your cast. You ain't got no friends."
It says loser, and then he puts a V on it.
Yeah. Which
Yep.
we find out later, because they don't show us what she's writing until we see it
Yep.
later on.
And then that's when everybody kind of goes off on her own way. Billy's all by himself, except for Beverly. She still wants to be in on it as well. And then that leads to the Beverly scene, where
She's back
she
home.
is going to sneak out of the house to meet up with Billy.
The door's locked from the
and all
inside.
And he's like, "Where are you going?"
Dad's off in the back dark corner of the room,
Yeah.
and he confronts her, and I guess she finally had enough. She's he's, "I worry for you, baby," and then she's something, "Are you still daddy's little girl?" And she's like, "No!" And like tries to pull away from him, and he tries to get her and chases her down, and he ends up like
On top of her.
on top of her, and that's when you get the gist of this dude being a creep, and you without him saying, you know what she's going through. And she bashes him in the head with something.
No, she kicks him in the nuts.
Oh, she gets him off of her, and then
Runs
she
to the bathroom.
flees to the bathroom, and he chases her down, breaks the door open on her, and tries to pull back the shower curtain, and she's there with the toilet tank lid that's on the back of your toilet, and she bashes him with it like a little tiny dainty girl you wouldn't think would have the force, but it breaks.
She breaks
on his face, and he's laying there bleeding out.
And she's looking at him, and then she turns to walk out, and there's Pennywise, and he grabs her by the throat, and then that's when he pulls her.
to back to the boys.
Yep. So she is
Captured.
down here, and that's
You
when they go
automatically
down.
think she's dead.
Yeah.
He don't be taking hostages. It's Pennywise the clown, man.
Yeah.
He's getting some food. He just got him a little red-headed ginger girl. You think she's dead?
Yep.
I thought she was dead, because they changed the movie up from the original.
Yeah.
It's not going to be the same.
No.
I'm thinking they're killing off little kids. I thought Stanley was dead too. Like, so you think she's dead? He got her.
Yep.
And
so
they're
then it
like,
goes
we got to
to-
go save her.
Yep. That's when he gathers everybody. Everybody gathers back up. They go to the black house, and then that's when
Find
they
the
go
well.
to the well.
Henry shows up. Henry gets
Blah
iced.
blah blah.
They're all down there now.
And right after, it's either right before Stanley gets detoured, or right after they save Stanley. It goes back and it shows her, and she's looking around, and she sees the Pennywise thing. And she sees the mountain,
Big
and then
mountain
she sees all
of
the
trash
kids.
and things that belonged to the people
Yeah.
over the years that he had devoured.
And you
And
see
then
all
up
the
in the
kids.
silo, you see all the bodies of the children just floating around like some crazy, twisted, what they call them baby things?
I don't know.
Oh, shit.
I don't know.
Anyway, the
what
things
did you
that
think
circle around your little baby's head.
What did you think of the dance scene?
Oh, he got up and he's like, hey, I thought that was, a little bit of
He's a
twisted,
dancing clown.
horrifying humor. Like, he's having a good old time. He's putting his show on. He's about to eat her. Like,
But he doesn't, because
no, he doesn't.
she doesn't have that
He shows
fear.
her the dead lights because she's not afraid. She didn't get eaten.
She's like,
the
I'm
only
not.
reason she was alive is because she stopped being afraid.
Yeah.
Or he would have eaten her and she would have been gone as soon as he caught her.
She's like, I'm not afraid of you.
And he gets her at the dead lights.
He opens his
opens
mouth.
up and it looks like,
3 lights. come out.
3 little LED lights, and you see his teeth surrounding every inch all the way into his mouth, and you hear the essence,
Screaming,
the souls,
and
the
all that.
screams of these past children and victims, and then her eyes cloud over.
Yep, and she's just
So we don't see her again
Yeah.
until they show up on her and find her, and she's floating, suspended in the air, halfway. You know, not in the silo with all the dead children, but like dead lights clouded,
yeah.
just there, stuck there.
Yep.
So,
And so then, afterwards,
well,
Stanley,
Billy finds her first.
Well, yeah, after they
And then
save
sees-
Billy, or after they save Stanley, Billy sees Georgie run off. And Georgie is leading him into where,
The big silo room.
yeah, where Bev is as well. And he goes around and he's looking.
He finds her, he's trying to jump up, and he's like, okay, I'll be back for you.
Yeah,
And goes to pursue little Georgie,
yeah.
who then shows up without his raincoat, with his arm severed off, you know, talking to him, just take me home, I don't want to be here, blah.
And then all the other kids show up. And they see Bev. And they get her down. They pick up whatever, they pull her down. They're wondering why, what's wrong, what's going on. And Ben ends up kissing her. And then that's when
It brings her back.
Yeah, it brings her back. And that's when she finds out that he's the one that wrote the poem. And then they run around and find Bill, and they see Bill talking to Georgie. And Georgie's like, I just want to come home. I'm so sorry. I love you, blah, blah, blah. And Bill's like, I love you too. I want you to come home. But you're not Georgie. And then he stabs him.
No, he's got
shoots
the
him with
bolt gun.
Yeah.
And puts down the little boy, and then for like 20 seconds you see the little boy just laying there, and I'm like, what's gonna happen? Like, where's the twist? And the body starts convulsing and contorting, and it's Pennywise.
His arms, his legs start
Just
fucking
sprout out. It was
And then he comes floating up, and then he looks up, and then he tells everybody, don't be afraid. None of this is real. As long as we stick together and we stay one, we got him beat. And they beat the crap out of him.
Oh man, he starts going ferocious again.
He starts,
And they are putting it on him, bashing him, beating him. They're trying to kill him. They're trying to kill the clown.
And then the final part is, well, as they're beating him, but he's going through everybody's scares. Everybody's scared, and they're all beating him. They're all fighting through what they're afraid of.
Yep.
And then last is Beverly's dad. You're still daddy's little, and then she, in the middle of that,
Right
she takes it right in his mouth, down his throat, and it stops him in his tracks.
So he ends up biting off the I guess it's a rod iron
and he pulls out the rest
piece,
of it.
pulls the rest of it off, you know, and he's all like, I don't know, I guess he starts
freaking out,
convulsing, freaking out, whatever, like,
because his time's almost done.
Oh yeah, they are defeating him. They conquer this dude. So
It leads to him going back down.
Crawling down towards the. No, it's not a sewer. It's like the well from the beginning times.
It's like another
of the settling.
Another section.
Yeah, like the 250 years ago spot where.
Another well that leads into another chamber, in a way.
But
he's there and he's hanging on to it.
subterranean.
And he's hanging on to it. He's like, I will remember you. I won't forget. And his
little
head
starts dissolve type, breaking apart like.
He's going back into hibernation.
Yeah.
And they go to rush him. They go to rush him, like, get him before he leaves. And then he falls down the well and he's laughing. And he's like, I will come back, or something like that. And then they, whatever, everybody's okay. And then that's when they, like, make a pact. They cut all their hands
Bill
open.
Picks up a piece of jagged glass. And they don't just make a promise, they make a blood pact.
Yeah.
And they join hands, and all that.
It's so funny, because the entire time Eddie's like,
yeah. What a germaphobe thing.
It's so funny, though. And then they all dissolve and go off one by one. Billy finally gathers the courage to kiss Beverly at the end.
And she kissed him back.
Yep. And Then they go off, and I'm pretty sure that's how it ends, right?
And it leads us into next week. Oh, it's going to be awesome. I'll never look forward to a scary movie as much as I'm looking forward to seeing this movie coming out.
Looking
to
forward
find
to
out
seeing
how they
Pennywise.
changed the end and how they wrap up this. Oh, it's going to be something.
Yeah.
I might for real get scared. I'm never. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. And as soon as we get money, as soon as we can, we are making sure we are buying those tickets. That way we don't miss out.
Oh, we're going.
Yeah,
We're going to be
for
there.
sure. 100%.
We're bringing you chapter 2s.
Yep. Next week. Part 2 of both the original and the remake of
Kiss Me,
It.
Fat Boy. That's my shit. It's going to be great.
This guy.
It's going to be great.
Anyways, so yes, that was our full in-depth review. I gave the movie an 8.5 out of 10.
I upped it to an 8.
8 out of 10. Great
We
movie.
did bounce around a bunch.
But we pretty
We're
much
amateurs.
covered.
We're learning.
We covered a pretty good amount of it.
We went back and covered this and came back to that. We got this.
Yeah,
We're learning as we go.
Yeah.
It was
anyways, look forward to next week. Super excited for it. Comment down below. Let us know what you guys thought. Don't forget to like, share, and please
Subscribe.
thank you all everybody for watching, and have a good one.